Everybody wants to hear gear. I was going to tell you about a piece of equipment. Now I'm just doing this on a basic drum loop, and I got a drastic thing going on. I got boost over here, cut over here, and I want you to see how much this is the mastering version of the Massive Passive. But listen to this sample without this on. When this is in, it's actually active. When it's like this, it's bypassed. So here's the sample. So I'm going to turn on the Massive Passive, how I got it set. Check this out. Let me do that again. Now notice what that did. You're like, well, I can do that. I can do that with my, my plugins. No, you can't. I'm going to tell you that right now. No, you can't, because here's the deal. When I click it in, it actually keeps the volume the same. You're not messing with any decibels here. You're just changing the tone of the whole entire thing. So now it's got a high end. Listen to the high end of my voice, and you can hear the snare and you can hear the highs. When I take this out, this is not a good mix between my vocals and now I sound all nasally. And do you see how it's focusing in on the nasally part of my voice? So when I get this, I got a little bit of air going to my voice. That's what blending is. A lot of guys are like, this dude's nuts. When you're working with mixes and you become a very efficient, I'll call it, mixing engineer, you understand that principle, that those drums at first made me sound like nasally, like me rapping. Unless it was a nasal rapper, we might want to leave them the other way. But just because this EQ's in effect, it doesn't necessarily mean that I have to do that to everyone. But let's start tweaking it with other settings. Say we got a guy that's got like a punchy voice. Let's try to make these drums punchy with this EQ. Let's check this out. Okay, so now we got more of the kick. Hear it now? Kick, 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 kick. Take it off. He's hollow, man. I'm a hollow rapper. Okay, you got to understand EQ. I'm trying to give you guys a run around in EQ. This is the 5-minute drill. Just by taking out certain frequencies. Now people are like, I can't give away my tricks, dude. I'll do this right in front of you. All right, let's say that sounds cool. Like you got a nice kick going on now, like a more punch. See what we can do. Let's make it tighter. Maybe the vocalist got more bass in his voice. Almost like an Outkast sound now. Take it off. Let's say we want more attack. Like we want more attack instead of more attack just in a certain range, so we'll go into a bell mode. So we just want more of the snap. So we'll work with the bands a little bit. Tighter snare drum now. Now let's say we want to put a little more boom into it. That's full-blown hip-hop, dude. That's like Jay-Z, Kanye West style EQ there. And that's like the sample. It doesn't sound anything like the same thing. It's nuts. Check it out. Okay, so now you get it. Like, I can go anywhere with an EQ. Now, in the mastering stage, if I was going to teach people how to mix songs, like, you gotta understand this. This EQ and me, like, really work well together because I understand where I'm trying to go with something. One of the things when you're using it for vocals and stuff, you really don't want to be doing too much altering. But that setting right there, if you just imagine every track being mixed like that, and just understand the definition of your song. In this case, you can't really understand it unless you get it. Unless you're like, wow, dude, that was nuts. The next thing, I could go all kinds of ways, but I shape the drums into fitting the tone of your voice. That's mixing. you know, if a guy goes like this, if you're in this stage where you're like, yeah, just boost 120 hertz and then, you know, put a little air in it, it's not going to do what this did. And that's why these are so important. This is used mostly on 2-bus, but it's used a lot in the mix because of what I just showed you. The next thing, I'm going to show you this. Let's just put the MU on. I'll just put it on by itself so you don't have to understand the EQ of what's going on. So we'll put the MU on and I'll show you what it does, compression, and how compression will work with it. And I'm doing it without the EQ on so you can understand what happens. And plus I'm not in the right program to put it all on, and I don't want to mess with the patch bay. There, I said it. I could mess with the patch bay. You're like, this guy's lazy. No, I'm not. Here's the deal. Okay, so now we got the MU going. Alright. So, now understand this. Now I'll turn it off. Very, very bad. Alright, I gotta do this. Sorry. You hear that now? That's what the manly on, manly off. Just weak. Manly on. Okay, check this out. I'm gonna stop the footage for a minute. I'm gonna patch this in. It'd probably take me about a minute, but I don't want you guys to have to sit there and watch. Hold on. Let me turn this off and I'll come right back because I want to use this EQ into this now because it'll really show you why you EQ, or you can get the sound you want and how I can actually turn this up more and it's going to sound cleaner. Check this out. Alright, we're back. I had to patch it in. It wasn't that difficult. I just didn't want you to see me mess up or something. I'm just joking. Here we go. So I'm going to turn these off. This is the original. It's still going through the equipment though. And it does make a difference on the sound. Now watch this. So we put the EQ on. Pretty dope. Pretty dope. Cleaned it up. Now let's turn this on. Let's turn this off. Let's go for that high and shrill. Take away some of the beef. A little more beef. Let's bring that infamous mud. Here, I'm taking that out. Watch. Really, EQ, we're changing the way that the drum sound. So if a guy was in the studio and he's like, you know, dude, I like it, but it just sounds like that kick drum's a little bit too big. In my case, how I listen to big would be, well, maybe we just need to boost less of the certain frequency range. Maybe we need to bring it up into the 100 hertz and just give it more body, not more low end. So that's what that is. Listen to the kick. It's still big, but the frequencies are big. Now let's tighten this up. Hi-hats are, say the hi-hats are killing him. Like, dude, turn the hi-hats down. Alright. For my final trick, just joking. Let's say that snare drum, that part of that snare drum's like killing him. I hate that sound. You know, somebody's like, that snare drum sound sucks. So here you go. It's like almost like a tom. Let's find it. So now I'm trying to find that snare drum. Okay, now here's the deal. This is like mastering. Same thing with mastering. That snare drum, that's how it sounds. Like, that's the snare. You might need to replace the snare with a new snare. I can't make that sound like something that was envisioned in my head. So I'm like, okay, that's not working. Let's say we wanna mud up that snare drum. That's not the right solution. What I mean by mud it up is just take frequencies we don't want in there to mud it up. Like this. Now that might sound good to some people. To me it sounds decent, but maybe the artist says, yeah, it does sound good. But did you hear how I had to mud it up and make it sound like that? The other thing is you have your compression, or your limiting. So if we put this into compression mode, we have a high pass sidechain. Why I'm doing that on the drums is because it doesn't just suck the life out of the low lows of this song. Check it out here, or the lows of this track. So this is compression. Let's really compress this thing. Fast attack. It's going to let it breathe, but you see the pumping that's going on here? Watch. See where the pumping went? It's because I EQ'd it right. If I take this off, it's going to pump the compressor. Watch. Just another tip for you guys out there. A lot of guys are like, yeah, I compress my stuff and it just doesn't sound right. It's because you didn't EQ it right. I hate to be so blunt about that, but what I'm trying to get at is if you EQ it right like this, then you can turn up the compressor more. The infamous professional sound. Add some more bass, actually. Now we're getting a pop. You hear it? Pop, 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 pop. Take that away. So we use the EQ to take away the pop. So take all this off. That's what you got. I don't know what else I could do as a video to show you. This stuff is a lot different than just, and I can do that with plugins too, but as a person that's listened to music for a long time now, it's so invaluable to be able to do that. Like that made that, like if that was the drummer and that drummer said, yeah, I recorded this at so-and-so's house and it sounded like before I touched it, and I just made that drummer sound tighter. I mean, it's creatively better. Listen to it. This is creatively better, not just technically better. Let him breathe a little bit, Doug. Now all of a sudden everything come back up, the highs. Let's go back to where I had it, around 1K. Cut that a little. That's really nice right there. So take it off once again. That's usually what the recordings come in sounding like, and that's where it goes from there. So mixing is a process where we're taking all the individual tracks like the drums like this, and we're working on them like that. Mixing becomes a little more money because you can see, like, we might be sitting there for as long as this video was trying to get the drums to fit right with the mix. That's professional mixing, because we're making decisions understanding that this is going to get printed and it's going to be on there for a lifetime. We don't put like pressure on ourselves. I'm not saying that. It's just we want it to sound as good as we possibly can and make sure we're taking care of things. Another thing that you'll understand as you keep building up track after track, the art of making everything still have its own space is the EQ, and that's what we're doing here. Your dynamics and your EQ, I'm giving you the basic principles here. Now, if this looked like I did this very easy, considering I've been doing this for a long time, if I would have done this like 9 years ago and did this video, I'd be like this. Yeah, you just boost this and you can cut this and it works like this. I'm telling you guys, it's and I wish the best for anybody out there, but it's consistency. It's the consistency meets up with efficiency. Where when somebody says something, I understand what I'm hearing. First of all, you can hear this room where like the EQ made a drastic change. And I did it on purpose, by the way. But there's sometimes in the mastering where I got all these off except for just a boost here. It depends on where I get the recording from. Most of the time when I get a like an independent CD that was recorded at home, I'll be doing drastic changes like this, but it fits. It makes it sound good. It doesn't sound bad. And it